Hello everyone, Gebatron here. In this video we are going to examine the commander orders that were added to Hell Let Loose in Update 12. Now, normally I get these post-update type videos out really quickly after the update, but this one I wanted to wait on because there was some wonky stuff going on, and you'll see what I mean here shortly. A little note before we get started. If you are unfamiliar with commander orders or how they work, then I highly recommend you start from the beginning of the playlist here at the top right, as this covers the older orders and the changes that have been made in the following updates. Okay, first up, under the munitions tab is the ammo drop. If we hover over the order, it reads, call in a large crate containing ×5 firearms, medical, and explosive ammunition resupplies for rearming infantry. So here we encounter our first bit of wonk, as this should read containing ×12 of ammunition resupplies. But in any event, let's cover the mechanics of how this works. The ammo drop has a 10-minute cooldown, meaning you'll only be able to use it once every 10 minutes, and all the orders start matches on their respective cooldowns, i.e. you'll have to wait 10 minutes before using ammo drop for the first time. Ammo drop will cost you 100 of the munitions resource indicated by this number here. Clicking on the order will bring up its icon in the center of the map. The ammo drop icon can be placed where you want it by clicking the desired location on the map. The edge of the map will have a green hue indicating when it's able to be called in. You are able to place the ammo drop anywhere on the map, including locked territory. Once everything is how you want it, click on the radio set to the right of the order to call it in. It takes 1 minute 9 seconds to hit the ground from the time you call it in. As the Americans, the ammo drop is brought in by the B-17 at low altitude, and here is big wonk. Currently, every faction in the game has a B-17 bring the ammo drop, which can be very confusing to players like me that gather a lot of information about the enemy by watching the skies. Now, I have gotten confirmation that this will be fixed no later than Update 13. However, in the meantime, it will be a little confusing, and the only ways I can think of to counter this is to check your map after you see a B-17 or to ask an officer. The ammo drop asset itself looks like a pallet with shallow boxes on top of it. The US uses a white parachute, while the Germans use a red parachute, and the Soviets use a white parachute. These look similar to an airhead from a distance, and just like the airhead, it is the same for each faction, with the only differences being parachute color and faction-appropriate ammo boxes inside of the drops. Here is what planes should be dropping the ammo drop. Of course, the B-17 for the US, the Heinkel or HE-111 for Germany, and the Li-2 for the Soviets. Once our ammo drop lands, it will have an on-map icon that looks like this, which will always be visible. However, I will say it is small. The HUD indicator looks much the same, only larger, and will only be visible at a distance of just over 30 meters while the HUD is active. You get 50 XP for calling in an ammo drop. So what does the ammo drop actually do? Unlike the different ammo boxes, which can only rearm one thing at a time, the ammo drop will rearm everything. Learn more about how ammo boxes work at the top right. You can see here we are out of ammo, out of grenades, and have used both our bandages. Approaching the ammo drop and holding F by default will replenish all our used small arms ammo, explosives, and bandages. We'd have to use 3 separate boxes to get the same effect as the ammo drop. The drop also provides 12 total supplies, while the boxes only provide 5 each. Let's quickly clarify what exactly these rearms include. All small arms ammo is replenished. This includes all pistols, submachine guns, machine guns, automatic rifles, and rifles including the Soviet AT rifle. For explosives, it replenishes both fragmentation and smoke grenades, rockets, both anti-tank and anti-personnel mines, satchels, and flares. For medical supplies, it replenishes all bandages used by anyone and any morphine used by the medics. The ammo drop does not provide any ammo to vehicles or armor or to artillery and AT guns. It can only be used by infantry. How can these things be destroyed? These things are pretty fragile, as any explosion will destroy both enemy and friendly ammo drops, so be careful. This includes grenades, rockets, satchels, tank shells, artillery, and even strafing runs. However, bombing runs, precision strikes, and Katyusha strikes will only destroy enemy ammo drops. So some interesting testing results there. They can also be destroyed by approaching them and holding F by default for a stealthier approach. How should you use these? While I find the ammo drop has limited usefulness, I don't find it completely useless. Keep in mind these are just my opinions, so please put yours down in the comments as well. The two best situations I find seem to be static defense and right after a successful assault. Static defense being when you are either in or near a strong point, an easily defensible area, or a fortified area with the goal of holding the area by keeping the enemy at bay or by redirecting them. The ammo drop can work out here as squads will be in these areas for longer periods of time than normal and should be expending larger amounts of ammunition. It will also benefit any medics working in the area. After a successful assault also works well for an ammo drop. So for example, right after forcing the enemy out of a strong point, the survivors of the assault will likely have used their grenades and more ammo than normal. This is equipment that they will need as the area is consolidated and squads prepare for counterattacks. Not to mention the newly controlled territory has now transitioned into a static defense situation. Remember how I said that ammo drops look similar to the airhead? Well, it may not be a terrible idea to use it as a decoy in a pinch. Peeling off a few enemy players and leading them on a wild goose chase isn't going to hurt you and just may tip the scales in your favor. Just make sure to drop it close enough to be noticed, but far enough away to take some time to reach. However, keep in mind that experienced players, especially those with binoculars, will be able to see through this ruse. What about where not to use them? I would never use an ammo drop on a flank without a specific request for it. Remember that ammo drops are visible to everyone and will likely give your flanking squad's positions away. Don't put them in that situation over an ammo drop. I would also not put these near friendly spawn points, as players spawning in will already have a full kit, unless it's also one of the situations we mentioned earlier. While the ammo drop may be cheap, it is by no means free. I recommend using it very sparingly, if at all, and saving your munitions for more useful orders and for artillery. Let's move on to Precision Strike. If we hover over the order, it says, call in a small yet powerful ground strike on a designated location, effective against heavy vehicles, fortifications, and garrisons. We will clarify this a little later. Precision Strike has a massive 20-minute cooldown and will cost 250 munitions to call in. Clicking on the order will bring up its icon in the center of the map. From here we are able to place it anywhere, including locked territory. The map will have a green hue when you are able to call it in. Clicking in the center of the icon will change the approach angle of the Precision Strike. This small arrow here indicates the direction the strike will travel. When you have everything the way you want it, click on the radio set here to call it in. It takes 20 seconds from the time you call it in for the bomb to reach its target. The US Precision Strike is carried out by a pair of P-47 Thunderbolts. The Germans get the Ju-87 Stuka, complete with siren, and the Soviets get a few IL-2s that rain down rockets. You get 75 XP for calling in Precision Strike. What does the Precision Strike destroy? Well, it tells us heavy vehicles, but of course it can destroy any vehicle in the game from heavy armor down to light vehicles such as trucks. It also tells us fortifications, so what does that mean? Here we have Fairingtail in a level 3 German bunker and a direct hit does not affect the bunker. Moreover, Fairingtail was unharmed in the strike. It's the same for all level 3 bunkers, including the US. What about barricades? Here is a level 3 US barricade with Fairingtail crouched behind it. The barricade is fine, and so is she. It's the same with both level 2 and level 1 barricades. Now she's in amongst some hedgehogs. We make hamburger out of her, but the hedgehogs are just fine. Barbed wire? Same story. So something has to change here. Either they need to exclude fortifications from their description, or, preferably, they need to make the Precision Strike do damage to fortifications, or at least it needs to be allowed to penetrate certain fortifications. Moving on to garrisons. Here there are some problems too, as I just couldn't get consistent results. More often than not, the US and Soviet strikes would destroy player-built garrisons, but I couldn't get the Stuka to destroy any, even with direct hits. I tried it in enemy territory, in friendly territory, you name it, I tried it. The only thing that was consistent was that none of the faction strikes could destroy the default garrisons provided to the defenders on offensive mode matches. Those can only be destroyed by hand or with a satchel. So if I had to bet the channel on it, I'd say that precision strikes are supposed to destroy all player-built garrisons no matter where they are, and not destroy default garrisons. However, that's just not how it's working as of right now. So what else do they destroy? Precision strike can destroy enemy nodes, repair stations, supply boxes, and ammo boxes. It is also capable of removing destroyed vehicle hulls. And finally, you are safe from the precision strike in buildings. So how do I think these should be used? Let me preface this section by saying that it's very important to have accurate marks before using precision strike. I think precision strike is viable for destroying stationary enemy vehicles, especially heavy armor or deployed half-tracks, but it is important to remember that a lot can happen in the 20 seconds between you calling in an order and it hitting your target. Good tank commanders will move often, so be wary. It's best to use this on immobilized enemy vehicles, something to keep in mind as a Soviet commander, as the AT rifle is not really effective at destroying armor, but it is effective at disabling it. While precision strike may not currently have an effect on enemy fortifications themselves, it will still be effective against any soft targets in the area. So for example, eliminating an enemy squad behind barricades. I would also use precision strike to quickly destroy a set of nodes if I had plenty of munitions and an accurate mark, especially if my recon squads were tied up. I would use it to clear a vehicle hull off of a choke point if we were having a hard time reaching it with a satchel. Someplace that immediately comes to mind would be like the bridge in North Pass on Herkin Forest. Clearing a hull that was blocking one of our breakthrough tanks' path would be beneficial. I'd use it in enemies against trenches, and finally, simply as close infantry support. Helping a pinned down squad with a strike will likely tip the scales of that engagement. Where would I not use precision strike? Anytime there is a question about a mark's accuracy. Without an accurate mark, you're just wasting time and resources. I would also not use it on moving targets, just too many variables. I won't be using it against any enemy buildings, bunkers, or pillboxes, and I would not use them against spread out enemies. The precision strike is sort of costly at 250 munitions, but with such a massive cooldown, you'll only be able to use it 3 or 4 times in a match tops. Right now it's not super consistent, but it will definitely help you to victory if used at opportune times on the things it is effective against, and if you use it in a smart way. Hopefully these inconsistencies get ironed out, and we will get a little more functionality out of the precision strike in the next update. The last addition to Commander Orders in Update 12 was the reintroduction of the German Panther tank, which is classified as a heavy tank under the fuel orders. You can spawn the Panther in by clicking the order, then clicking on any one of your 3 HQ sectors. The map will turn green when placed properly. Click on the radio set to confirm. The Panther has a 4-minute, 10-second cooldown and will cost you 600 fuel, at least at the time of recording. You do not receive XP for spawning vehicles. The Panther tank does a good job of combining the agility and reload time of a medium tank with the penetration and protection of a heavy tank. I won't get into the details here, but check the description for a link to the Hell Let Loose Tank Bible to learn all the weak spots and values associated with the Panther, as well as other armor available in the game. There it is. That's everything I know about the commander orders changes that were made in Update 12. If I missed something, make sure to put it in the comments so I can look into it and add any oversights to a pinned comment. Now remember, there were some bugs here, which does suck, but at least it's been confirmed that these will be ironed out no later than Update 13. Depending on how they decide to handle it, those changes may get their own video too, but if those changes are not significant, I'll likely just make a community post pointing them out. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. The playlist at the top left will cover all the commander orders, and if you like the plain comparisons, then check out the videos at the bottom. Please do all the things to help the algorithm. Check the description for ways to support the channel or to join up with Glow's community. These tests took forever, so any support is appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.